Hello, Random. Can you hear me okay? Okay, good. Remind me of your age, gender, and where you're tuning in from, please. You're 16 years old and you're about to move to Canada in a month. Oh, okay. Do you have permission from your parents to be here? Because this is for 18 years old and up. So I like to know if you have that permission. I don't want to step on any toes. So therefore, I want to make sure that they're aware of it. Because we are supposed to declare what our channel is, and our channel is not for like 13, 14 years old. So I just want to make sure that it's complying with the rules. Sup kissed. Okay. uh, Introduce yourself, Sup kissed, as far as gender, age, and where you're tuning in from, please. I Sup kissed says, I'm a girl, I'm 19, I'm from Texas. All right, good. Well, in regards to your question, Subkist says, hi, I struggle with HOCD. How fast can I be cured? It depends on how fast you want to learn and educate yourself about what are the causes of HOCD and what HOCD is. It's a subset of OCD and how OCD works. There are many scientists and doctors and research available. Dr. Schwartz have a book written on OCD in title of Brain Lock, and you can find his lectures on about the neuroscience of habits leading obsession to compulsion, and then compulsion being continued, not because of the obsession but mostly because to later on, because to get the dopamine, because every time you do the compulsion you feel good and there's a dopamine secrete, and after a while you become addicted to the dopamine, so no longer you're doing the compulsion for the obsession, you're doing it to get the dopamine. And after a while, that dopamine continuously prolonged, you're no longer doing it for compulsion or the dopamine, you're doing it because it becomes your habit. That's why it's very important to know and educate yourself about OCD and substance of OCD, including HOCD, and to understand how it works. And before it becomes your habit to have thoughts or ruminate or thoughts generate in that particular way, not because it has anything to do with you, just because it's become a habit to think that way and allow these thoughts to become a topic for you to data hunt instead of ignoring them altogether. So it's important for you to educate yourself, and there are other links in my two playlists that I've made for this topic of HOCD. It's called Intrusive Transient OCD, HOCD Negative Thoughts, that explains about the perceptions and interpretations of thoughts. And then I have, which there are about at least 30 videos there that is very important, from video 1 to video 30 to watch. There are more than 30 videos, but these are numbered. And then there is a a playlist called Intrusive OCD HOCD short videos. None of them are short, there's no one or two, but in this particular playlist, it is focused on the separation, understanding of the separation between brain, you, and thoughts. Once you understand this separation, which I have proven using the philosophical understanding from 1,000 years ago in the time of Aristotle to modern science of today, neuroscience of today, through uh, neurosurgery and neuroscientists' reports and experiments, beyond the shadow of doubt, has proven that you're not the brain and brain is not you, and you're beyond the brain and brain. There are aspects of you and the mind that the brain cannot even reach. And these are based on the discoveries and experiments of Dr. Speary, Dr. Penfield, Dr. Owen, Dr. Libet, and brilliant doctors, which was accumulated and explained by Dr. Ignar, which I have used all that research and created a little bit more elaborate version of it, which I have put it in here, and I will include it for you to put the link in here for you so you can find that. That is in the playlist of intrusive OCD, HOCD short videos. And it helps you to understand the separation beyond the shadow of the doubt, scientifically proven the separation between brain, you, and thoughts. So you won't be taking suggestions of the brain as it shows up in your head, as if it's a deity or if it defines you or if it has something to do with you, and therefore you understand that these are thoughts. You should simply ignore them and focus on your daily lives until you eventually, through your ignoring and behavior toward these thoughts, you rewire your brain through neuroplasticity and get you to help the lever in the striatum called caudate nucleus, which is responsible to shut down the intrusive thoughts automatically. When it malfunctions, then it doesn't do that job. That's why it hovers and you keep thinking about these and you wonder what these thoughts are. And eventually, by ignoring these thoughts, you will reactivate and you retrain your brain through neuroplasticity to function as it did before, or at least you know why it's not functioning, so you won't be bamboozled by the thoughts that are showing up, thinking that it has anything to do with your sexuality. So that particular video is called there it is. You can add this to your list of videos to watch. But underneath all these videos in these two playlists, you have links of famous psychologists, psychotherapists, such as Dr. Philipson, Dr. Jan Rayner, Dr. Schwartz, and many therapists and so on, other than these experts, that you can watch their videos and educate yourself, and then therefore you'd be able to help yourself to manage this until your brain is no longer being fooled or trying to fool you by you understanding that these are thoughts and irrelevant to you and meaningless to you, and that you live by your vetoes and choices, not by suggestion, thoughts, images, or ideas that the brain throws out and puts it on the screen of your head. All right. And Random says, yes, I do have permission from my parents. Okay, good. Random says, Meron, how can I stop doubting things I know for sure? It's an OCD, And OCD, French call OCD doubting disease, which is we doubt anything. Like you doubt if you've checked the stove to be off when you want to leave your home, or you check the door if you have locked it or closed it, or you touch the um, light switch 10 times off and off, just to make sure that you create a certain fictitious psychological balance so it will protect you from harm or protect your parents or your loved ones from something bad happening to them. These are just glitches, electrical glitches that happens in the brain, which none of them mean anything, because if that was, had any meaning to what the reality is, then you would just touch the light switch and wish that you'll have $1 million in the bank. That should have happened. But doesn't. So these are all just brain is in search of psychological security because we love certainty, and you are a perfectionist. And this perfectionism, when it's overacting, it stops you from actually believing the actuality, and you want to make sure it is. What if it's not? These negative thinking, anxiety, due to the fact that you want to be protective of your good lifestyle or whatever you love in this life, and therefore you overdo it by trying to create an environment that at least you believe everything will be good. And since there is no such thing to create such assurances, you have created certain kind of a ritual to touch things, do things, go over the borders of the bricks on the street, on all four corners, and you looking at something more than it one time. These are all mental satisfactory uh, rules that you created for yourself, thinking that that will give that assurance that you're seeking, because there is no real assurance about anything in this world. So you're creating it for yourself because you love life and you love how things are for yourself. So you want to hold on to it. So just reprogram yourself. And let's say if you're, I don't know, doubting something, um, just you have enough evidence to know it's a fact. Don't doubt it and see what happens. Why would you doubt? I mean, you keep doubting it. What's going to convince you? If I am drinking this tea and I know this tea is good, it's not poisonous, and I sipped one and I didn't die, so what's the use of doubting it again? What evidence do I need to be sure? This perpetual seeking assurance is the disease, not actually the facts or whatever it is that you're dealing with. So let's say I have this toothpick and say, but is it clean? Should I use it for my tooth? But it was here, touch this. Maybe it's not clean. I go wash it and say, oh, maybe I should wash it one more time. Because you're doubting everything. And that's not because you haven't done enough things to clean this up. It's because there's a glitch in the brain that you doubt everything regardless. All part of the OCD subsets. So what you can do, just ignore it. Trust yourself. You're trusting something that has no evidence to it, but it's an idea and suggestion. So what I'm asking you instead, trust what's obvious. That you have enough evidence and done your research so you know it's a fact. Stick with that. Knowledge. Hmm? And then see what happens. And you will get the result that you expected. You say, well, I'll continue and improve on it. So you're afraid of something happening if you don't doubt something. When you doubt something, you end up redoing and redoing whatever. If it's an activity, you keep doing it. That's going to hinder your efforts in what you want to do. Just like if you're writing something in a piece of paper, you go over that line, 5 times, to the point that the paper is actually cutting through the paper because you wanted to make sure, oh, I got to do it right. It's not perfect. It comes from perfectionism. And usually these sort of people are more intelligent than average person. But yet it causes these kind of hindrances and problems. So stop being perfectionist. Allow things to be. You do your best. That's all you can expect yourself. You can't be 100% sure of anything or everything. So just do your best. be, you know, diligent. Uh, Whatever extent you can go, you go, and then leave it. You don't have to be responsible once you've done your best. That's all you can do. Um, but if you give me a specific example, then I would be able to maybe pinpoint it rather than just in general. Subcu says, is it normal that ever since I developed HOCD, I lost my attraction to men? Yes, of course. That's what HOCD does. I mean, you're dealing with something that is totally not in line with your values and you are terrified with it. And so obviously you can't be having that balance that you always are used to for every system working in the way and all your attention being in the sea. You're distracted. It's like saying, I don't know, I can't play chess as good as I used to while that, I don't know, metal shop is making noise. Well, because you're distracted. Your ability to play chess and your information about how good you are in chess is still the same, hasn't gone anywhere. The distraction is the problem, not your ability to play chess. Your ability to love men and, as you always were interested in boys, is still the same. It's the distraction that you're dealing with something that has frightened you. It keeps your mind away from what needs to be focused on. Therefore, you won't see that kind of attraction because you're doubting that, am I actually who I've always been? And doubt makes you feel, oh, I'm dishonest if I actually approach or allow this boy who was invited me something to actually go on a date with. So because you think that's dishonest, but in fact nothing has changed in you. It's only your brain that is malfunctioning in the signaling system and is causing you to think these things. These are all thoughts. I've got nothing to do with your gender. I've got nothing to do with changing you into anything. I've got nothing to do with your orientation or sexuality. These are thoughts that you are somehow believing thoughts. You should stop believing thoughts. Everything else is in place. Hasn't gone anywhere. There's a guy on YouTube as a channel, and he addresses OCD, HOCD, and stuff like that. And I stumbled on one of the things that briefly he was talking about, and he's a honest character as far as I can see, and he means to help people. And I don't want to take credit for this analogy that he used. And he said that some people ask, why is it that he doesn't have that? Um, let's say if it's a man, doesn't have erection for the woman uh, when he has HOCD. And he answered, he said, well, very simple. It's like you're swimming in a pond and an alligator is at you, coming after you with jaws open, is about to tear your ass apart, and then you're expecting to have an erection right there. Of course, your focus is not there. You won't be balanced and having all the atmosphere that you need to do that. So you're distracted, you're focusing on the survival, and your attention is somewhere else. Same thing when you have HOCD, it's like you're frightened and you're trying to survive and deal with something that is totally frightening to you, and it's a dangerous thing to you, although it's fictional. But you haven't understood it's fictional. You believed it because the brain has suggested it, and you think if the brain suggests it, or brain is intellect, must mean something. No, it means nothing. Brain is actually very stupid. It's a machine. It makes thoughts. You're the judge, you're the boss of the brain, and you're supposed to be simply judging if this thought is of any value or not, if it meets your, if it's in line with your values or not. So, because of this distraction that you believe the brain, then you're frightened about these things that it has no reality to it, but it bamboozles you because somehow you've accepted the brain to be higher than you, where in fact the brain was added to you 40,000 years ago, but you lived without this kind of brain for millions of years. So, brain was added to you. How could it be your boss? How could it be your leader? You were there first. If you're not there, there would be no brain. This brain wouldn't be there. So therefore, because of this distraction and fear that you're dealing with, naturally you won't be interested in the boys that you've always been interested in. Yeah? So your kind of uh, false attraction toward girls, and you've always been attracted to boys, is just again um, a temporary thing that the brain is going to malfunction. And if you watch the two playlists that I have, that I named them, um, intrusive transient OCD, HOCD, negative thoughts, and intrusive OCD, HOCD short videos, you will have good knowledge about how this thing actually works, how they're all connected. And then if you watch the link of the psychologists that are famous in the world, Dr. Philipson, Dr. Jan Weiner, Dr. Owen, actually Dr. Owen is a different field of in neuroscience. Dr. Schwartz, you watch their videos, you'll be more educated about this, and you'll understand that this is a glitch of the brain. No changes happen in you. So, hope that helps you out. And Vantage 8 says, "Hi, sir. I am from Germany and 20. I still love a girl I knew from high school. I still love a girl I knew from high school, and it's been 3 years since I graduated high school. How can I get rid of this? By the way, I have zero contact with that girl." Well, it just means you have no girlfriend right now. You haven't had sex for a long time. And naturally, because you constantly think about sex, by default, you'll be thinking about the most recent love that you had. And that was that girl. And if you've had any other relationship in the meantime, between then and now, 3 years, you still have a certain kind of affinity with that girl, which you had certain relationship or you had infatuation with and never was fulfilled, or it was fulfilled but somehow broke up. And you still think of her in the same way that she was then. She's no longer that girl that she was then, and you're no longer that boy that you were then. So therefore, don't think that if she comes to your life and you meet her, that's going to be the same bubbly girl or the same cute girl or whatnot. She could be some kind of a, different character right now that you would not even approve. So you are actually infatuated with an image that you have made out of that girl in your mind about her, but you have no idea about what her actuality is. And might as well you can be in love with some other character because you are the one who's giving the character to that image, because you have given a character to this image according to how you knew her, but no longer she could be like that, and most probably she's not. So stop being in love with a virtual girl and try to give opportunities and give yourself opportunities and others to get to know an actual woman, actual girl, uh, you know proper to your age, and then get to know her and then see what really love is. High school time, love is mostly no different than lust. And it's not really love, because love really happens between the two consciousnesses. And if you really don't know that girl or that person, how could you love her? You think you love her because that's your understanding of love is, oh, I'm attracted to her. She's so gorgeous. She's so cute. And she gives you that kind of a feeling of, oh, her attention makes me feel the man that I want to be. It motivates me. And all that to you translates into love. That was a high school thing that you didn't even know what love is. Love is not the pleasure necessarily. Love is about understanding and bonding on consciousness level. And how can you bond and understand each other's consciousness level if you haven't spent enough time to know each other and know how each one of you acts and reacts and functions and negotiates in daily events on actual daily happenings, like going out for coffee or tea, and seeing how you actually interact with people, or challenges that come up, how you actually help each other, how you actually endure. Those things creates your understanding of the content of each one of your consciousnesses. And these two, then you can see if you're compatible on these basis of these observation of interaction between the two consciousnesses and how you interact with the world. in general, and you could be witness of each other's behavior. But if you haven't, then it's not really love, because love happens again between two personas. And your physical infatuation with some girl, that doesn't mean you know her, but you are programmed as a heterosexual male to respond to a feminine figure. And so you think, oh, that's love. No, that's attraction. That's invitation to get to know her. So, and at that age, everything is so pure. And the problem is that you still think she's the same girl and you're the same boy. No, could be far from it. So, give yourself a chance. There's so many amazing girls in this world, and get to know them and share experiences, and then you go on from there. The world hasn't produced only one amazing woman that you think this is, and you don't even know her. So move on. There's no sin for you to move on. You think it's a sin to move on because I used to love her and she's so amazing. You had made her be such a big deal for you, because at that age, every girl's attention and every girl at that age is amazing thing, just over the top. But in reality, there's so many amazing girls out there, and you didn't have any expectations at that age. You hardly knew yourself. How could you have known what kind of girl you want? This happened to be the one around, and you're attracted to her. You were attracted to. You would be attracted to anything. Honestly, you'd be attracted to any girl who would smile at you at that age. So now, you by understanding, it's just move on. Move on. It's not a sin that you think, oh, if I move on, that means I'm betraying the love of my life. No, it's not the love of your life. It's just the love of that time of the school time. And that's it. Hardly know her. Move on. Move on, and don't bother yourself with that. You see, you have created some kind of a watcher out of your own thoughts. You thinking that watcher is watching your behavior and your reaction and interaction and views about this girl that you used to love, and that watcher is grading you on how wonderful human being you are or not. And in order to preserve that, you kind of feel like, no, if I do that, that's not good, because there's somebody who's actually going to take score of how I'm treating the one that I used to call the love of my life. So you kind of have created some kind of observer, which that observer is your own thoughts watching you from the above, and then you're behaving in some kind of a confined environment, unable to move out of it and say, okay, the hell with it. Okay, I love this girl. That was a high school girl. Who gives a shit? Now move on. So many other amazing girls out there. So nobody's watching you. Go. It's not a sin to just move on. And Wilson says, how do I tell if these are real or false attraction? It gives me anxiety whenever I think about it. It's very simple. The fact that you're asking this question right now means your awareness, your intellect, which is not the brain, brain is not the awareness, brain is not the intellect, you are the awareness, you are the intellect. Your awareness has detected contradiction between the suggestion of the brain. And that means that you're not the suggestion of the brain. If you notice and become aware of a contradiction between what the thought, what the brain suggests, whatever it suggests, that is not in line, because it's not in line with your values, contradiction, awareness recognizes the contradiction between your values and something that is not of your choosing, of your values. It's not in line with your values and what the brain is suggesting. That recognition of that awareness of that contradiction is the reason that why these are all false attractions. Otherwise, if it was a reality, you wouldn't even notice something different. Yeah, it's very simple. But you guys are so bamboozled by the brain being the smart part. No, whatever it says, oh, brain thinks that way, then I must be it. No, the fact that you recognize brain thinks something different than you, your choice and your values, that's why it's not correct. Hmm? So watch my video that I have about all these on the playlist, intrusive OCD, HOCD short videos, and you will focus and understand, learn about all the proofs that I've brought for you, philosophically or scientifically, proves the separation between brain, you, and thoughts. Once you understand this thoroughly, then you will see that what the brain suggests has got nothing to do with you. But when you think you're the brain and brain is not you, which is false, then you're bamboozled by all kind of things. I'm going to throw in another video in here for you guys that I highly suggest you guys watch it. These are uh, not a dime a dozen videos, guys. You will not find it anywhere. I don't think you will find it anywhere on YouTube. But these are things that are very uh, interesting to watch, and I suggest you to watch it to educate yourself and bring yourself to a different level of awareness. Then these things will not fool you anymore. Um, all right, this is a long version. This is like I think it's in four parts, but this is the long version that has all the four parts in it. So you may choose to choose shorter version of it, or you choose the whole 39 minutes. It's up to you. So here it is. Uh, there's the long version, and I only put this because I don't know which version, which part has the main version in it or not. So you can watch it. I mean, 39 minutes is not bad. And then I have many other videos that why is it not going through for the and okay, there it is. So, and there are other videos on that playlist. And for example, the roots of HOC that I have proven the roots of HOC is outside of you, and that's another angle of showing you that you're totally separated from thoughts. So what thoughts suggest to you has got nothing to do with you. It's just a thought. You got to focus on understanding of separation between brain and you, and then you're fine. Nothing can bamboozle you anymore, no matter how persistent it is, no matter how convincing it is. Once you believe the brain, and then the brain obviously it doesn't understand any difference between virtuality and actuality, because it doesn't have any understanding between for difference between actuality or virtuality. So what it comes to the brain, according to the brain's manufacturing of certain thoughts, then the brain believes it because brain itself is virtual, there's no actuality to it. So the ideas that come to it is also virtual. But because the brain's world is virtual, it takes another virtual thought as reality and actuality. When it believes it's a reality and actuality, therefore it makes the body react to it because it believes it's real. And when the body reacts to it, that becomes your evidence that, oh, see, my body reacted to it, that, then therefore that must be me. No, 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 no. The body reacted to it because the brain is controlling the body and can make the body react. And the brain has believed this to be real while it has no actuality whatsoever. But the brain is in virtuality world, and therefore thoughts are virtuality world. Therefore, the brain thinks the virtuality is in its own world is actuality. So it makes the body react to it, and the body reacts to it. But that's not you. That's your not your awareness. That's not your values, and that's not your choice. And brain cannot reach you. You're beyond the brain. But you get fooled and you think what the brain has made your body react is an evidence that I am what the brain says I am. Bullshit. Don't fall for it. All right, I hope that made sense to you guys. It's so pretty warm in here, isn't it? Let me see what's the temperature. Or is it because I talk with excitement? Hmm, it's 20 degrees. It's not that bad. All right. So what else do we have? Yes, I did. I had HOCD too, and it was weird. But because I'm an old school, I never, eh, I only, I didn't give it a label. I just said that's nasty thought. To me, to other people may not be. Whoever is not heterosexual, that to them that's a natural thing, but to a heterosexual that's not welcome. So, but I didn't give it any label, as many people give it a label and then they stuck with the label because they gave it a label, a conclusion. Therefore, they now think they're the conclusion. To me, it was that's not in line with my choices or values. I don't agree with this. I'm not interested in that. So the thought that comes in doesn't matter. I'm not interested in that. So therefore, all it affected me as it's a nasty thought. What's that? And then it took a while, but I had my own way of simply saying, well, that's separate from me because I know who I am. And this must be some kind of a brain glitch, brain malfunction, brain creating some kind of a image or some kind of thought, and I don't care what it produces. That's not in line with my preference and my beliefs and who I am and my values. Therefore, it never affected me in the way it affects you guys. I could feel the uh, the um, the conflict of it, the controversialness of it, the suggestion to who I am, what I've always been, what my interests are, and that never changed in any way, shape, or form, because to me it was just unheard of, never something that it would be affecting me, but I could see the intrusion. I could see the intrusive thoughts. I could see the unwelcomeness of it, and therefore it didn't affect me, but it bothered me, and it was there constantly, going like a continuous looping thing. So obviously, I knew there's a malfunction somewhere. I just didn't know the science of it. So through research, and it would become apparent that absolutely I was correct all the time. But then I learned how to deal with it. It went away by itself eventually after a year. But if I knew what I know now, it would have not bothered me as much as like it's constantly there. It wasn't the actual type of the thought that I was having any concern with. I just considered it very nasty and very unwelcome. But the fact that it's constantly occupying my brain, that was what I was trying to get rid of, finding out why a thought, regardless of what it is, keeps hanging around. And then, of course, through my research, I found out that's about the malfunctioning of the signaling system of the brain, caudate nucleus in the striatum, and it can't get the response that is designed to automatically give to the prefrontal cortex. Say, hey, I'm not interested in these sort of thoughts or suggestions, and that usually happens automatically because we have this kind of a ability for automatic shutdown of intrusive thoughts. When it malfunctions, it hovers. When it hovers, we get bamboozled and think, oh, because it's not going away, it must mean something. No, it just means you're malfunctioning on your signaling system. That's all. You don't change. So educate yourself by all these links that I put in here. You'll be fine. It may take a while, but that's all right. Yugi sounds is 34, male, Victoria, Canada. Oh, Yugi, you've been here before, but you were in Alberta or Calgary at one time, no? Now you're in Victoria, closer to Vancouver. He says, hello, Mehran. Have you been heartbroken? Are you kidding me? Every day of my life, I've been heartbroken because every girl I saw when I was much younger, I fell in love. Even today, I see a beautiful girl, oh, I'm in love. Well, we know that's not love, but then I didn't know. I was in love every day, and but yes, I have been heartbroken a number of times, and one worse than the other. But I always continued doing my duties and responsibilities, and just because it was hard and heartbroken and you know tough to go through it, it didn't stop me from doing my duties, and that's what I suggest to every one of my friends around the world, uh, boy or girl. Uh, if you are heartbroken, going through breakups, that's gonna go away by itself eventually. But in the meantime, do not allow it to make you miss opportunities that cannot come by again, such as studying for your exams, such as taking care of your project if you're employed, such as the business things that you're supposed to complete, the projects that you have, the responsibilities you have. Do not allow it to affect the outcome and your efforts for completing and accomplishing what you have set out to accomplish. That cannot be taken back. Your exam and studies, just put that aside. Say, okay, I take a break from the heartbreak. I take care of my exam and studies, and then after that, I'll sit down and cry, and that's not going to be a problem. There's going to be enough time for sobbing, but not when you have something more important to do. Put your priorities correctly, and don't fall for that. You're already hurting because of the emotional hardship. You don't allow it to hurt the other angles and tangents of your life, because that you cannot get back. And this, by the time that it moves on, you say, oh, it moved on. Now I can get back to my responsibility. But it's too late. You've lost the opportunities that you were supposed to handle certain things and responsibilities, and you were too busy with the heartbreak, and you messed it up. More than the heartbreak could affect you, because it wouldn't affect you. Eventually, it dissipates and goes, and you go on with your life. But in the meantime, you allowed it to affect you in different ways. That's the problem. Oh yeah, I've had a heartbreak bigger than any one of you. Don't worry. um, Ken says 36 male in New York City. Yeah. Says, hi Meran, I know you've discussed rejection, but I have a woman I've seen for a year. She's saying we cannot get serious since I'm not a vegan like her. Is it worth convincing or even keeping as a friend? I feel like she had led me on. Listen, what if tomorrow she comes and says, look, I cannot be with you because you like tennis? It's far fetched, I know, but that's the idea. If she cannot tolerate you as you are without the way you are harming anyone, and she wants you to change to her, it's no different than you trying to make her to become, carnivorous, and not and stop being a vegetarian. That's your personal preference. If she wants to change you to something that I agree with, being vegetarian, I would have loved to be vegetarian if I knew enough recipes and I didn't have to eat meat. I don't know, and it's not convenient. Unfortunately, it's not ready for me to go and pick up things and get all the protein that I need and feed myself. So I end up eating what is available, which is lots of, meat is part of it. But I do personally prefer vegetarianism. Yeah, but I don't have the know-how, and there's not enough restaurants that I can buy it and readily made as it is available. Other things and get my protein and so on if I go to the gym or whatever it is that I need. But having said that, some people, whether it's available or not, they prefer to eat meat. It's none of her business. She can have her own thing. You can have your own. If she wants to force that upon you, what else is she going to force upon you later on? Just because what you want to be between her legs, and now you're supposed to lose whatever it is that makes you to be who you are. What about the religion? Tomorrow she says, I can't be with you because I don't know, you're Buddhist, or you're Jewish, or you're Muslim, or because you're Christian, and I'm this or I'm that or I'm an atheist. Where's it going to stop? If there's no harm to what it is that you're accustomed to, and if there's no harm to what she does, what she's accustomed to you or to the others, what's her business or what's your business trying to change her or she trying to change you? So if that's the case, she's not really setting a good example to try to build something. And I've known people who have been vegetarian and then later on they changed back to being carnivorous and eat meat. So what are you going to do now? Yo-yo? You follow what she does. Say, listen, I don't want to change you. I love you the way you are. You don't love me the way I am. Then go find a vegetarian. Goodbye. That's not the only woman around. And there is a price to pay to want to be with a woman that you prefer for personality and physical attributes and all that. But that price should have a bottom line. There is a limit to it. You can't be giving everything about you or some things that is really not, should not be part of negotiation. And you can't be paying more than what you should pay for something. If this is how you're going to pay, you're going to pay with your soul, with your who you are. Your persona will change. What if tomorrow she wants to be, I don't know, she wants you to be, I don't know, influence other decisions you want to make, which is personal. What if she wants you to wear a certain kind of a clothes that you don't find it, you know, relevant to you or complimentary to you? What if all the other things? We have an expression in Iran where I was born till I was almost 18, and that was usually expression that was used when a man was, it's a historic, not today, but when a man would marry a woman and they would say they would kill the cat right at the altar, meaning uh, he would stand his ground and say, this is how it should be, that's my leadership. And you either want it or you don't want it before they get married or actually right after, so to show who's going to lead the relationship. But nowadays times have changed. Both are participating in leadership and all that, but still there must be a limit to trying to control each other. So you stand your ground right now and you say, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. If that is a deal breaker, then that means I don't have anything else offered to you. Then you're free to go and I'm free to go. We'll find somebody who is vegetarian for you and I'll find somebody who respects what I am while I respect what they want to eat. I don't care about what they want to eat, but I do have certain kind of a opinion about what I prefer, and it shouldn't be of their business. So if that is something a deal breaker for you, by all means, there's a door, or I show myself if you're there at her place, and you have a wonderful evening or wonderful life, or whatever it is. Stop paying ransom just to be with a woman. The woman should respect you as much as you respect her. This is two-way street. You respect, honor, and protect her, and the same thing should go the other way around. All right. Now you turn the tables around. Don't say, "Oh, therefore that means you don't want me." No, say, "Well, because you're not tolerant to certain differences that each one of us naturally could have, and we should respect that. That's a deal breaker. I don't think we're going to make it together. Have a nice day, and you go on, move on." And Yogi says, "What happened to your thumb?" Oh, I was trying to open a pistachio. It was closed and just had a little hole. So I don't know what I was thinking. I used my very sharp knife that I never use. It's just like for camping or hunting or what. I don't hunt, but camping or something. I don't know, something that everybody has. And it was very sharp. And I wasn't paying attention where I was holding the pistachio. And so it slipped and naturally whew, cut my thumb very nicely. Quite a interesting, yeah, it wasn't just a small cut. Um, and XVHK Wilson. I don't know how you come up with those screen names, guys, but anyhow, Wilson says, thank you so much. You're quite welcome. Ternia Colebrook says, hi, hello there. Nova says, hello again, Maron. Hello, Nova. And Sharuch says, sir, what is your profession? This is my profession. This is what my love and passion is. That's lots of time, research, and creating all these. We have about 3,000 videos on this channel, close to it, and over 1,000 live talks. So we've done a lot, but I don't know why we don't have recognition. We only have 23,000 subscribers. Somehow something doesn't move, and I've said that before. Many of you know that their channels, they don't really make sense, and they don't offer really much solution or education in the way of the movement of the psyche. But they've got like 500,000-600,000 subscribers in 2-3 years. I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm doing wrong, or maybe there's no interest for what I'm talking about here. So either way, if you guys can help promote the channel, go ahead, do it. I don't know anymore. And we could wither and die, and this channel could stop from functioning because it really doesn't make any money. And so, of course, the motivation wasn't money at all, but I would like to put everything else that I'm doing, which makes the money, and just focus on this that I love and passionately interested in. But until we have enough subscribers, I can't do it. Some of my videos are like 300,000-400,000 viewers, or 100 or 60 or 30, but our subscription is like 23. I don't know what's going on. 23,000. So Black Earth Production says it's been a year and a half, and I'm still working to get my bearings. I fought for things, was 7 years with her. Social dynamics in this world as highly skewed as men. What do you say to this? Well, I need more explanation. I really don't know what you're trying to see. It's all in codes. I fought for things. I don't know what things. Was 7 years with her. Okay, what happened in the 7 years? And trying to get my bearings. Okay, that means you're still missing her and you want to go back to it. Okay. Social dynamics in this world as highly skewed. I don't understand what that means. Just make me understand. As men, again, I don't understand what you're referring to. There are many things that I may find this referring to, but I don't know if that is what you really mean. What do you say to this? So, nothing. Until I'm sure what I'm really hearing from you. Ken has sent us a super chat. Thank you for that. Says, we'll always support here no matter what. Well, my pleasure. Thank you, Ken. And Ken says, thank you, Mehran. You've gotten through so much heartbreak and continue to give wise, timeless advice. I'm forever appreciative. You're quite welcome. Quite welcome. Shara says, sir, why any type of OCD feels real? Because that's what OCD is about. It's a doubting disease. So when it makes everything else doubt, then you believe what the OCD says, because it says created that OCD is right, everything else is wrong. That's what it's done. It's trying to switch things around by creating doubt and taking stability on what you know it's fact and creating doubt in your head. It's an electrical glitch. So the signals don't go through to close the gap and create this highway that you can see clearly everything according to what they are facts, and you believe it. It creates doubt. It kind of cuts those circuitries. It creates distraction to that and statics to that, and creates malfunction and creates trouble for the transmission of the messages. So it doesn't get to, the signals don't get through as they should. So that doesn't help to close the circuit that this is a fact. End with it. constantly keeps it as if it's not um, concluded, you know, and replaces it with something else. That's a malfunction. Ken says, "Thank you, Mehran. I've watched you for years, and you always give wise advice to get me through so much hurt. Eternally appreciative." My pleasure, Ken. Delighted that you enjoy the channel and enjoy the content. Unknown says, "Hey, Mehran, may you please help with my question?" Oh, let me see. I missed it, I guess. He says, "Have you ever had a groinal response from HOCD?" I haven't had a groinal response, but groinal response, I have a video on it that you want to watch that, because I did research to help you guys understand, because many of you have groinal response and you think groinal response has direct relationship with the sexuality or the orientation. It's got nothing to do with that. When you're heterosexual, you have a false groin response to your questioning, but what is this? I shouldn't have this. That is not because of your orientation. That is not because of your sexual interest. That's got all other reasons that in this video that I'm going to suggest to you, that you will be enlightened to know what groinal response is. There it is. This video is highly valuable, and it's going to help you to understand what you just asked me, and it clears things out for you. Here is the link, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It says, "Because with me, I don't like the thoughts and it disgusts me, but I get unwanted movements." Yeah, those movements are perfectly natural. It's not to do with the gender. It's not representing any sexual interest in that what you're seeing. In fact, the idea that you're not it creates an anxiety in you, and anxiety creates that fight and flight system working sympathetic nerve, and therefore that moves blood pressure and changes movement, and through that movement of blood, things change and things move, and that movement is because of the anxiety. You think, oh, it means something. No. Sometimes some people have full-on erection, and that's again not that has nothing to do with the sexuality of it. It has again to do with the anxiety and fear and reaction to something that I should watch out. It wouldn't go that way, and because of that, it actually goes that way, because the brain is actually making the body react, but it's not you who actually have this in line with your values. So it's not the values or orientation of you that is responsible for this reaction or this response. It's actually the brain's movement and affecting the body and making the body react to something that is falsely has made itself to present and represent that this is you. But if you're aware that you're not the brain is not you, then your body may or may not react to what the brain makes it to react, but you won't be fooled by it. So watch the groinal response video I just put in here, and you will learn a lot more. Nova says, "Male 21, Florida, USA. Intrusive thoughts are the worst. I don't know how to let them not affect my mood." Well, because if you don't pay attention to them and allow them to be there. Look, intrusive thoughts are like a shadow. Hmm? Sometimes you're walking in the street, it has happened to me. And when you're passing by the street lights, you can see a shadow of something, but you don't realize that's a shadow of the light, but you don't know it's a shadow of light. You think there's something behind you, and you turn around, you react as if it's a real danger. Hmm? So intrusive thought, but it really has no teeth and has no ability to do anything other than the fact that you were scared of it because you assumed or you thought it's real. Hmm? You thought it's real, so you reacted real. But then you see that it wasn't real, and then your reaction was actually of no use. It didn't follow up with any action. There was nothing there. But you will react regardless if there's something there or not if your amygdala which is not going to consult with your prefrontal cortex, says, "This is what's happening. Do you concur?" It just goes on to defend you or to protect you, without just instinctively. So same thing. When a thought shows up, you're not going to wait around. The amygdala is not going to wait around to see if there is or not. It's going to react to it as if that intrusive thought is an actuality. It's going to unleash its protecting abilities to protect you. That's its job. It's not going to first find out, let's see if it's fact or not. No, no, no. I felt there's an error coming to me. I'm going to dodge. I'm not going to wait and see, oh, really, is it? It's all too late. It's going to move, and then it's going to find, oh, there was no error. It was just a light moving, a shadow. But it's going to react regardless before it finds out if it's real or not. Intrusive thoughts are that way, the same way. When it shows up, because the brain is virtual and thought is virtual, brain believes the virtual as actual, has no understanding difference between actual and virtual. So it reacts as if it's actual, but it's not actual. It reacts as if it's actual, makes the body react as if it's actual, and then you know, but your intellect should know that this is not actual and not to be bothered by it. But the brain doesn't have that intellect to not to be bothered by it and not to allow this to show up. That's why it has a caudate nucleus, a system that would shut down the intrusive thoughts. And when it malfunctions, then intrusive thoughts shows up and stay there. And the brain, not knowing the difference, makes the body react, makes you react. And then you are bothered by it. But you as an intellectual should conclude that intrusive thoughts are of virtual nature. They are thoughts. They have no actuality to them. And because they don't have any actuality to them, I don't mind them. I don't bother. I let them be. Yeah, they are obnoxious. Some happen to different people, different things. But fair enough. I let them be. I just ignore them because I know they have no power. They could be annoying me because they're not in line with my values and they don't meet with my values. But I know they have no power. It's a thought. It's a thought. It doesn't exist. It's an idea. You're afraid and reacting to an idea that has no actual action to it. If you understand this, then intrusive thought shows up, says, okay, it's obnoxious, it's annoying, but I know it cannot do a damn thing to me. Because I'm here, I'm the boss. Only me and only I can allow any thought, suggestion, ideas, or images to become action or not. Brain by itself cannot make something to become an action. I and only I can. My intellect, my awareness, the me can only be the boss to allow any thought, suggestions, or images or ideas can turn into action or not. So there's no threat on me when the intrusive thought shows up because the buck stops here. So my reaction is because I haven't understood that I'm the boss and that this is a glitch, a malfunction. So the brain could come up with all these intrusive thoughts. Yeah, it's annoying, but that's the extent of it. So I let them be, but I ignore them. I ignore them. Eventually the brain realizes that when these sort of thoughts of this caliber shows up or it produces it, I, the master, ignores it. So when I keep ignoring it, the brain says, well, no attention, no interaction, no engagement comes from these producing of these thoughts. Stops producing them, reduces producing them because it gets no reaction. And through this behavior of yours to ignore these nasty thoughts or intrusive thoughts, it rewires itself to a tune that you are training it. You're retraining the brain through your behavior, through neuroplasticity. The brain rewires itself, and after a while, it reduces production of this, and after a while, it doesn't produce anymore. And if it ever produces again, you know exactly what it is, so you're not bothered with it. You give it the same treatment, and it eventually again subsides. That's how you retrain. One of the biggest mission of your life is to retrain your brain. One of the missions of us in this life is to train your brain. The brain was not given to you trained. It is learning and it malfunctioning as it goes on. You got to pick up the malfunctions and help it to be retrained. Teach it. Help it. Hmm? You're the boss. Understand? All right. Sharok, the answer to your question is understanding and education of what this is. It's a malfunction. It's a disorder. It's not a disease. Hmm? So therefore, when you say what is a cure to permanent cure for OCD, is education, is understanding. What's a cure to lack of education is education. What's a cure for me to know how to work this machine is to learn how to work it. Hmm? Same thing. What's a cure to HOCD is to learn. It's a cure to OCD to learn how it comes up, what's the malfunction, what are the reasons, how it works, how the psyche works, how the brain works, and then from then you retrain the brain. Hmm? That's it, education. And I have a video on that says, let's see, I think I did make something for that. Um, HOCD cure is to understand brain and how intrusive thoughts. Okay, there it is. So I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you two links. One is this, and one is this. This is a short version, very short version. Focus on good things. It says, what is a permanent way to cure intrusive thoughts, HOCD? So I'm just going to put this up here. And then all you have to do, go on my channel and punch in the search engine of my channel the word cure, and it'll give you a bunch of things. And then you will choose what's relevant, the title of the videos that you will watch. All right. Okay. Yeah, that's right, Nova. It does make you feel uncomfortable, but that's what it is because it's no different than somebody you walk in the street and calls your mother a whore. Hmm? It really bothers you because words have meaning, and then you have your ego and you have your values and you have intrusive attack towards what you love and you want to protect, and you get really angry. But in reality, the uttering of that word to calling your mother something doesn't make your mother change in any way, shape, or form. She's still the same lady as always been, and it's just defines the person who says something, that person is crazy, that person is disrespectful, that person is an asshole. Same thing. When the brain starts coming up with these intrusive thoughts, it makes no change whatsoever to you, but it shows that the brain is actually sick. It shows the brain is malfunction. It's disrespectful. It's an asshole. So you need to help it to train it. And what you do in those situations in the street, you ignore them. Yeah. If you want to stop and fight with everyone that is have a foul mouth, you're going to be fighting all day long for different things. So you ignore, right? The same thing you do here. You ignore the bullshit that the brain produces, and then eventually the brain says, "Oh, it pays attention to my bullshit," so start shutting up. Same thing. When people are constantly saying shit and you just ignore them, you go on, they start feeling kind of left out and nobody's buying what they're selling, and they kind of feel embarrassed and belittled and demeaned. And eventually people say, hey, stop talking like that, asshole. Other people, because he keeps saying bullshit and you ignore. Hmm? And eventually it shuts up and moves away. All right. Jeremy says, hello, have you had experience teaching lectures as a sort of professor? Yeah, I've had experience of teaching at university at some capacity with some few courses in the past in the continuation education department of a local university. Um, Jeremy, let us know where you're tuning in from, how old you are, and your gender and everything. And Sharok says, does doing namaz play a small role to get rid of intrusive thoughts? Yeah, but if you want to pray for getting rid of it, it's not going to help. You got to educate yourself about how it functions and what this malfunction is all about. But the idea of namaz itself is no different than any good meditation or mindful exercises. It helps very much in bringing that confidence and connection with the supernatural, and brings so much confidence in you, which helps. And at the same time, meditation and mindful exercises will increases the about increases the neurotransmitter GABA, GABA. And GABA neurotransmitter is responsible for managing depression and anxiety, and managing better management of the intrusive thoughts. So now it goes up through meditation, mindful exercises, including praying and all that so forth. Uh, but not praying for what you're looking for. Just the idea of praying to whatever it is that you pray, not for a purpose, not asking for something. Just the whole process of meditation, mindful exercises, praying, whatever it is, that total attention to something. That itself increases about 30% of GABA neurotransmitters, and increases something about 400% on some other neurotransmitters, and increases the growth hormone and decreases the cortisol level. And these are amazing results that now neuroscience knows about the which neurotransmitter does what. So it's very important to now that this information exists, to practice certain things that helps you to increase your ability to deal with intrusive thoughts, and things that would help your system to be more balanced as it was like when you were a child or something. You didn't need any of that. Naturally, we were just focusing on one thing at a time, playing or this and that, so forth. So it was all very flowing energy and pure energy and no distractions. Now you got to create this. You got to learn how to create these things. See, that's the curse of growing up in a way. Um, yeah, do that. That's fine. It's not a problem with it. It's pretty good. Yeah, sure. And I forgot what else I wanted to add, but that's all right. Abhishek says it's been a year and I still remember X. And when I think about my past whole day is wasted, how to cure from this? To choose not to. You can see the effect of it, negative effect of you constantly thinking about her. What does that mean? She's somewhere else having her own life, or maybe have her own relationships or boyfriend or whatever she's doing. Who knows? Maybe she's having sex right when you're thinking about. So why do you spend your time, waste your time thinking about somebody that is you're not with anymore? Move on with your life. Don't disrespect other women. There's so many amazing women out there that you're not supposed to be thinking that this woman that you knew last year is the only one in this world. What has she done to deserve that kind of a recognition? What has she done for the world and for humanity that is so important that you can't live with it? What? What has she done? What? What has she accomplished? Nothing. You lust for her. That's it. And you can lust for any other woman. Find another woman. Get to know them. You know, respectful, cordial, understanding, and getting to know each other, and then finding things in common, and perhaps falling in love and being intimate and all that. The opportunity is there. You don't have to be stuck with that thing experience in your brain because, I don't know, she left you or whatever the hell happened. She's of no consequence in your life. You have made her to be the boss of your life. Why? In fact, you made your desire for pleasure to become the boss of your life, and because she was able to bring that pleasure to satisfy your desire, you're thinking of her as the boss of your life. But in fact, it's your desire for pleasure that's boss of your life. Control that. Don't give a shit about desire. You're not automatically, you won't give a shit about her, and you move on with your life. What's a big deal? Who died and left her in charge to be the, I don't know, the Almighty to bring happiness to you? Don't make a big deal out of people. Let them prove themselves to you rather than you creating a certain image that is beyond their qualifications, and you give certain credentials through that image about them in your mind by you. Let them do the work. Why should you? Abhishek said, can I get your mail ID for personalized advice? You can go on my site. That's how I give personal advice. mindthatseekstruth.com. Mindthatseekstruth.com. Make an appointment on Skype, and then for 1 hour registration, I'll throw in another hour if you're a new client of mine, and then you'll have 2 hours that we can explore what's concerning you on Skype one on one. And Abhishek says, thank you so much, sir. You're quite welcome. Yeah, that's right. You must learn to love yourself. You're as precious as anybody else that you think they are. So that's how it should be. Okay, guys, it looks to me that it's been 1 hour and 16 minutes and 34 seconds. And looks like, don't forget to click on like. I only see one like here. And make sure that you promote the channel any way, shape, or form you can, legally, of course. And so help the channel to grow, because we simply somehow, I don't know, with all the quality videos that we have helped thousands and thousands of people, and there's pretty much the content is second to none. Any of our live stream is far superior than many other things that is around. I don't know even what's around, but I bet you we don't cover in depth what things that we cover in the time that we cover in here. And our intention is very pure, as you can all know. So we need support of getting this channel recognized or exposed to public through, I don't know, chat lines or whatever it is that you guys can do. Talk about it, share the videos, and promote it. So we'll see where we go before we wither and die. So I hope that it was as enjoyable for you as it was for me. It's time for me to maybe take a break and go for a walk and enjoy the outside weather and ponder a little bit and get a workout a bit. In the meantime, I look forward to talk to you again next Saturday at 1 p.m. Vancouver time, and again possibly 9 p.m. Vancouver time. And if I don't have any spontaneous one in between now and Saturday as another live stream. So I look forward to talk to you again. In the meantime, be good to yourself, to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.